Chioma Okafor stood in Busan's night market at 11:47 p.m. Black hoodie pulled low over her braids, searching faces in the crowd the way she'd done every night for 6 years, searching for her brother, for Ebuka. 10 years old when the traffickers took him. 16 now, if he was still alive. She didn't notice the 3 men tracking her through the crowd. Yun Tyang sat in his office 3 miles away, studying a photograph of a woman who'd betrayed his family, So Ji-won, the informant who'd been feeding information to their enemies for months. His men had orders: find her, bring her in, make her talk. What neither of them knew was that in exactly 4 minutes, his men would make a very costly mistake that will destroy their lives and rebuild it into something they wouldn't even recognize. And that mistake would put a target on both their backs that nothing, not his power, not his money, not his ruthlessness, could remove. Hey besties, if you're enjoying Soul Heart Stories, kindly subscribe to this channel right now. Thank you. Chioma moved deeper into the market, past vendors selling grilled squid and sweet hotteok, past tourists laughing over soju. The air was thick with cooking oil and cigarette smoke. She stopped at a phone accessory stall, fingers tracing cheap cases while her mind stayed on Ebuka, on the leads that brought her to Korea, on the rumors of trafficking rings, moving children through Busan's ports. The prickle on her neck came without warning. That animal instinct that kept her alive in Lagos after her parents died. That kept her moving through 4 countries, following whispers of where her brother might be. She glanced back. 3 men, leather jackets, moving with purpose. One speaking into his wrist. Her stomach dropped. Chioma picked up her pace, weaving between families and street performers. The men matched her speed. She took a sharp left down an alley between vendor stalls, sneakers, splashing through puddles of grease and water. The alley opened into a loading area. Empty. 1 flickering streetlight. Stacked crates casting shadows like teeth. She spun around. The 3 men blocked the exit. The middle one, tall, scar across his eyebrow, smiled. It wasn't friendly. So Ji-won? He said in Korean. Chioma's breath caught.
So Ji-won?
What? No,
What?
I'm not.
No, I'm not. Don't play games.
You match the description perfectly. He pulled a photo from his jacket. Even from 10 feet away, Chioma could see it. A woman. Her age. Her build. Her skin tone. Wearing an identical black hoodie. Boss wants a word. I don't know what you're talking about. My name is Chioma. I'm not whoever you think. Close enough. He pocketed the photo. Let's go. No, listen, I'm just... One of the other men moved forward. Chioma's spine hit the wall. Her hand found her pocket, closing around her phone. She never got to pull it out. A black van screeched into the loading area, doors already open. Hands grabbed her. She screamed, thrashed, her elbow connecting with someone's jaw. Something sharp pressed against her neck. A sting like a wasp. The world tilted. Her legs gave out. The last thing she saw was the streetlight, flickering like a dying star. She woke to silk against her cheek. Cool, expensive fabric. Her body felt heavy, disconnected, the sedative still clinging to her system like cobwebs. Chioma forced her eyes open. A bedroom. No, a suite. Floor-to-ceiling windows showed Busan's skyline at night. City lights scattered like diamonds on black velvet. The room was immaculate. Modern furniture in black and chrome, abstract art on the walls. A bed big enough for 4 people. She was lying on that bed, fully clothed, shoes removed, otherwise untouched. She pushed herself up. Her head spun. She gripped the mattress edge, breathing slowly until the room stopped moving. The door opened. A man entered. Mid-20s, glasses, carrying a tablet. He stopped when he saw her awake. Oh, you're up. Good. Boss wants to see you. Where am I? Chioma's voice came out rough. Who are you people? I'm Jay. I handle tech and communications. You're in the Yun family compound. East Wing guest quarters. Guest quarters? Chioma's laugh was bitter. You drugged me and threw me in a van. That's not how guests are treated. Jay adjusted his glasses. looking uncomfortable. Yeah, well, that's above my pay grade. Boss is waiting. Come on. He turned to leave. Chioma didn't move. What if I refuse? Jay looked back. His expression was almost sympathetic. Then other people will come. People less friendly than me. Please, just make it easier on yourself. He left the door open. Chioma sat there for a long moment, mind racing through options. She could try to run, but she saw the camera in the corner. The guard stationed at the end of the hallway. No windows that opened. No obvious exits. Trapped. She stood on shaky legs and followed Jay into the hallway. The compound was massive. They walked through corridors that smelled like expensive cologne and furniture polish. Guards nodded at Jay as they passed. Some looked at Chioma with curiosity, others with pity. That last part made her stomach twist. Jay stopped at double doors made of dark wood. He knocked twice. "Come in." The voice was deep, controlled. Jay pushed the doors open and gestured for Chioma to enter. The office was exactly what you'd expect from a crime lord. Massive desk, bookshelves lined with leather-bound volumes that probably never got read. Another wall of windows showing the city below, reminding you exactly how high up you were, how far you could fall. Behind the desk sat a man, Yun Tyang. Chioma knew it was him before anyone said his name. He had that energy, the kind that made you understand why people called him ruthless. He wore an obviously expensive charcoal suit. His hair was styled perfectly, not a strand out of place. His face was sharp angles and cold calculation. But his eyes stopped her, dark, intense, currently fixed on her like she was a puzzle he couldn't solve. He stood slowly, his gaze never left her face. "Seo Ji-won," he said, not a question. "No." Chioma forced her voice steady. "My name is Chioma Okafor. I'm Nigerian." "I don't know who Seo Ji-won is, but I'm not her." Taeyang tilted his head slightly. Behind him, two other men stood, guards, bigger and broader than the ones she'd seen so far. "You match every detail," he said. "Age, height, build, even the scar on your left hand." Chioma's right hand instinctively covered her left wrist, where a thin, pale scar cut across her palm. A reminder of Lagos. Of the night everything fell apart. "A lot of people have scars," she said. "Not like that one. Show me." "No." The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Taeyang walked around the desk, each step deliberate. He stopped 3 feet away. Up close, she could see the details. The perfect knot of his tie, the slight shadow of stubble on his jaw, the way his cologne smelled like cedar and something darker, smokier. "I'm going to ask you once more," he said quietly. "Who are you working for?" "No one. I work at a restaurant, 2 restaurants actually. I wash dishes and prep vegetables, and serve drunk businessmen who think grabbing my ass is funny." The words came out sharp, angry. "I'm nobody. I'm just trying to survive and find my—" She cut herself off. Taeyang's eyes narrowed. "Find your what?" "Nothing. It doesn't matter. Everything matters when you're in my home." He circled her slowly, like a predator assessing prey. "You're either a very good liar, or you're telling the truth. Either way, we have a problem. Let me go." "That solves your problem." "No." He stopped in front of her again. "It doesn't. Because if you're Ji-won, you have information that could destroy my family's operations. And if you're not Ji-won, if you're just an innocent woman who looks like her, then my enemies now know your face. They'll assume you know something. They'll hunt you." Chioma's blood ran cold. "What?" "The Kwon family. They've been trying to infiltrate our organization for months. We finally identified their informant, Seo Ji-won. My men were ordered to bring her in quietly." His jaw tightened. "They grabbed you instead. Then tell them. Tell them they made a mistake." "I will. But it won't matter." Taeyang moved back to his desk, poured whiskey from a crystal decanter. He didn't offer her any. "The Kwon family doesn't forgive. If they think you're Ji-won, they'll assume we've turned you. If they discover you're not, they'll kill you anyway to tie up loose ends. And if Ji-won is still out there, He took a sip. She'll want you dead too. Competition for her identity. The room spun. Chioma grabbed the back of a chair to steady herself. This is insane. I didn't do anything. I was just buying a phone case and wrong place, wrong time. His voice was almost sympathetic. Almost. Welcome to my world. So what happens now? You kill me? Make me disappear? Taeyang set down his glass. He studied her for a long moment. No, he said finally. I keep you here, protected, until we find the real G1 and neutralize the threat. That's still kidnapping. Call it protective custody. I don't need your protection. Yes. His eyes met hers, and there was something in them now, a hardness that made her breath catch. You do. Because as of tonight, Chioma Okafor, you're the most wanted woman in Busan's underworld, and I'm the only reason you're still breathing. Chioma woke to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows. For a moment, she forgot. Then it crashed back. The kidnapping, the compound. Yun Tyang and his cold declaration that she was stuck here indefinitely for her own safety. She sat up in the massive bed. Someone brought her things during the night, her few belongings from her tiny apartment. Her duffel bag sat on a chair, her worn sneakers by the door. They'd been in her home. The violation of it made her chest tight. She threw off the silk sheet silk, because apparently even captivity came with luxury when you were kidnapped by the Mafia and walked to the windows. The view was breathtaking. Busan spread out below like a postcard. The ocean glittered in the morning sun. She could see the port from here, massive cargo ships lined up like toys. Somewhere down there was Abuka. Maybe, possibly. The lead that brought her to Korea 3 years ago said children were moved through these ports, sold to factories, to fishing boats, to people who didn't care that they were children. She pressed her forehead against the cool glass. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry, Ibuka. I'm trying. A knock at the door made her spin around. Yes? The door opened. Not Jay this time. A woman. Early 30s, hair pulled back in a severe bun, wearing a crisp white blouse and black slacks. Good morning. I'm Hana. I manage the household staff. Her Korean was formal, polite. I've brought breakfast. May I enter? Chioma almost laughed. May I enter? As if she had a choice. As if this was a hotel and not a prison. Sure. Hana wheeled in a cart loaded with food. Rice, soup, grilled fish, kimchi, fresh fruit. More food than Chioma usually ate in 2 days. Mr. Yun requests your presence at lunch. 1 o'clock. Someone will come to escort you. Hana began setting dishes on the table by the window. Is there anything specific you need? Clothing? Toiletries? Books? I need my freedom. Hana's hands paused for just a second. Then, she continued arranging dishes. I'm afraid that's beyond my authority. Anything else? Chioma's anger flared hot and sudden. Does this happen often? Women held captive in the guest quarters? Is there a protocol? Miss Okafor, it's just Chioma, and you didn't answer my question. Hana finally looked at her, really looked at her. Something flickered in her eyes. Sympathy? Understanding? No, she said quietly. This doesn't happen often. You're unprecedented. Lucky me. I know this isn't ideal, but Mr. Yun isn't lying about the danger. The Kwan family. She cut herself off, shaking her head. Just be patient. Let him find the real informant. Then this will be over. And if he doesn't find her? Hana didn't answer. She finished setting the table and moved toward the door. Wait, Chioma said. How long have you worked here? 8 years. And Yun Tyang, what's he really like? Hana's expression became carefully neutral. He's fair, ruthless when necessary, but fair. He doesn't punish without reason. He protects those under his care. She paused at the door. Eat your breakfast, Chioma. You'll need your strength. The door closed with a soft click. Chioma stared at the food. Her stomach growled. despite everything. She hadn't eaten since yesterday afternoon, before the market, before her life became a nightmare. She sat down and picked up chopsticks. The soup was perfect. Rich broth, soft tofu, just the right amount of spice. The rice was fluffy. The fish melted in her mouth. She hated that it tasted good, hated that her body wanted it, hated everything about this gilded cage. But she ate. Because Hana was right. She would need her strength. At precisely 1 o'clock, Jay appeared at her door. Ready? Do I have a choice? Not really, but I thought I'd be polite. He gestured down the hallway. Come on. He doesn't like waiting. They walked through different corridors this time. Chioma tried to memorize the route. 3 left turns, 2 rights, past a courtyard. She could see through floor-to-ceiling windows. The compound was even bigger than she thought. Jay stopped at a different set of doors. These were lighter wood, more casual. He knocked once and pushed them open without waiting for a response. A dining room, smaller than she expected. A table that could seat maybe 8 people. Windows overlooking a private garden. Taeyang sat at the head of the table, reading something on his tablet. He looked up when they entered. Today, he wore a navy suit, no tie, top button undone. His hair was slightly less perfect, like he'd run his hands through it. He still looked dangerous. Thank you, Jay. His voice was neutral. You can go. Jay nodded and left, closing the doors behind him. Taeyang gestured to the seat across from him. Sit. I'd rather stand. Sit down, Chioma. The way he said her name, sharp, commanding, made her legs move before her brain caught up. She sat. Food was already laid out. Western. A style this time. Sandwiches, salad, fruit. A pitcher of iced tea. I hope the accommodations are acceptable. Taeyang said, setting down his tablet. They're lovely. Prison cells have really improved. His mouth twitched. Almost a smile. Almost. You're not in a cell. Then I can leave? No. Then it's a cell. He poured iced tea into 2 glasses, slid one across to her. Fair enough, but as far as cells go, you could do worse. That's supposed to make me feel better? It's supposed to make you understand reality. He leaned back in his chair studying her. I had my people look into you last night. Chioma Amarachi Okafor. Born in Lagos. Parents died in a car accident 6 years ago. Younger brother, Ebuka, disappeared 3 days later. Presumed taken by traffickers. His eyes never left her face. You've been searching for him ever since. Nigeria, Ghana, Thailand, now Korea. Chioma's chest tightened. Hearing her life summarized so clinically made, it sounded small, pathetic. You had no right. I had every right. You're in my home. I need to know who you are. He picked up his glass but didn't drink. The leads that brought you to Korea, they're legitimate. Her breath caught. What? Busan is a major transit point for trafficking operations. Children, adults, doesn't matter. If someone wants to move people illegally through East Asia, they use these ports. His jaw tightened. My family isn't involved in that trade. We don't touch human trafficking, but other organizations do, including the Kwan family. Chioma's hands clenched into fists. Are you saying, I'm saying your brother might actually be in Korea? And if he is, there's a good chance the Kwans know where. The room tilted. Chioma gripped the edge of the table. 6 years. 6 years of dead ends and false hopes and leads that went nowhere. And now this man, this criminal who'd had her kidnapped, was telling her Ebuka might be close. Why are you telling me this? Her voice came out hoarse. Because I need you to understand something. Taeyang set down his glass and leaned forward. I'm going to find So-ji-won. I'm going to end the threat she poses. And when I do, when you're safe, I'll help you find your brother. Why? Why would you do that? Because my men made a mistake. You're suffering for it. That's not acceptable. Something flickered in his eyes. And because 6 years ago, I lost someone too. I know what that does to a person. The admission hung between them like smoke. Chioma wanted to stay angry. wanted to throw his offer back in his face, but the desperate, exhausted part of her, the part that searched crowds every day for a face that might be Ibuka's, whispered, maybe this was a chance. Maybe this nightmare could lead somewhere. I don't trust you, she said. Good, you shouldn't. And I'm not going to stop trying to leave. I'd be disappointed if you did. He picked up a sandwich. But while you're here, we play by my rules. You don't leave the compound. You don't contact anyone outside. You don't do anything that could alert the Kwans to your location. Understood? And if I don't agree? Then I keep you locked in that room instead of giving you freedom to move around. Your choice. Chioma wanted to throw something, wanted to scream. But she'd learned young that survival meant picking your battles. Fine, she said through gritted teeth. But I want updates. On G1, on the Kwans, on everything. Daily briefings. I'll have Jay bring you reports. And information about trafficking operations, routes, organizations, anything that could help find Ibuka. Taeyang studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded. Agreed. Now eat. You look like you haven't had a decent meal in weeks. He wasn't wrong. Chioma reached for a sandwich. They ate in tense silence. The food was good, of course it was good, but every bite felt like a surrender, like accepting this reality. Halfway through, Taeyang's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, frowned, and stood. I need to take this. Hana will show you back to your room. He paused at the door. And Chioma? Don't make this harder than it needs to be. I'm trying to keep you alive. He left before she could respond. Chioma sat there alone, staring at the garden through the windows. Cherry blossom trees swayed in the breeze. Beautiful, peaceful, a perfect prison. That night, Chioma couldn't sleep. She paced her room like a caged animal. 3 steps to the window, 5 steps to the door, back again, over and over. Her mind wouldn't stop spinning. Ibuka might be here, in Korea, in Busan. Close enough to reach. But she was trapped. Held by a man who claimed to be protecting her from people she never knew existed. And the worst part? She believed him. About the danger, about the Kwan family, about all of it. She stopped at the window, pressing her palms against the glass. The city lights blurred through sudden tears. I'm sorry, she whispered again. I'm so close, Ibuka. I'm so close and I'm stuck. A sound made her turn. Music. Faint but unmistakable. Piano music drifting through the walls. Chioma moved to the door, pressed her ear against it. Definitely piano. Classical. Something melancholy and beautiful that made her chest ache. She shouldn't. She should stay in her room, follow the rules, play it safe. But she opened the door anyway. The hallway was empty. The guard who usually stood watch was gone. End of shift, maybe. Change of rotation. Chioma followed the music. Down corridors she didn't recognize. Past closed doors and darkened rooms. The music got louder, pulling her forward like a thread. She stopped at an open door at the end of a hallway. A room lit by floor lamps. A grand piano in black lacquer. And Taeyang sitting at it, playing with his eyes closed. He'd changed clothes. No suit now. Just black pants and a white shirt with the sleeves rolled up. His fingers moved across the keys with surprising grace. The song was haunting, full of loss and longing. Chioma stood in the doorway, transfixed. She'd expected many things from Yun Tyang. Violence, coldness, control. Not this. The song ended. His hands stilled on the keys. Are you going to stand there all night? Or are you going to come in? He didn't open his eyes. Chioma's heart jumped. How did you... You're not as quiet as you think. He opened his eyes, turned on the bench to face her. And the guard radioed when you left your room. I told him to let you wander. So I'm not actually free to move around. You're free within limits. This is one of them. He gestured to the room. Come in, or go back. But decide. She should go back. This was dangerous, not physically, but in other ways she couldn't name. She stepped into the room. It was a daeming, private music studio. shelves lined with sheet music, a cello in the corner, the piano dominating the center like a throne. "You play," she said. Obvious statement, but she didn't know what else to say. "My mother taught me. Before." He trailed off, fingers brushing the keys again. A single note, soft and sad. Music was the only time she seemed happy. Was? She died when I was 15. Heart attack. Sudden. He played a few more notes, random and disconnected. "My father never recovered. He built this empire but lost himself in it. And then he expected me to do the same." Chioma moved closer. "Is that what you wanted? This life?" "No." The admission was quiet, almost lost under the sound of the piano. "But we don't always get what we want. We get what we're given. Then we survive." She heard her own life in those words. Her own choices that weren't really choices. "Why are you telling me this?" Taeyang looked up at her. In the soft lighting, he looked younger. Less like a crime lord, and more like a man carrying too much weight. "Because you asked what I'm really like. This is me. When no one's watching." He stood, walked to the window. "Most people see the ruthless heir, the monster who makes people disappear. They don't see this. Why show me?" "I don't know." He sounded genuinely confused. "Maybe because you're the first person in years who's been honest with me. No fear, no manipulation, just anger and survival." He turned back to her. "It's refreshing." Chioma didn't know what to say to that. They stood there in the quiet, the piano humming with residual sound. "I used to dance," she said finally, "before everything fell apart. I studied in Lagos. Contemporary, traditional, everything. I wanted to be professional." She laughed, bitter. "Stupid dream." "Why stupid?" "Because life had other plans. My parents died. Abuka disappeared. And suddenly dance seemed frivolous, pointless. Or maybe Taeyang said carefully. It seemed too painful, a reminder of what you lost." The words hit like a fist. Chioma's throat tightened. "You don't know me." "No, but I know loss. And I know how it makes you give up, the things that make you human, because being human hurts too much." He moved back to the piano, ran his hand along the polished surface. "I almost gave this up. After my mother died. For 3 years, I didn't touch it. Then, one night, I was so angry, so empty, that I came in here and played until my fingers bled. Did it help? It reminded me I was still alive. Sometimes that's enough." Chioma walked to the piano, stood across from him. This close, she could see the details. A small scar near his temple. The way his jaw tensed, even when he tried to relax. The exhaustion in his eyes that probably mirrored her own. "Play something else," she said. "What do you want to hear?" "Something hopeful, if you know anything like that." His mouth curved. Not quite. A smile, but close. "I'll try." He sat back down and began to play. This time, the music was lighter. Still melancholy, but with threads of brightness woven through. Like dawn after a long night. Chioma closed her eyes and let it wash over her. For 3 minutes and 42 seconds, she wasn't a prisoner. She wasn't a woman searching for a lost brother. She wasn't scared or angry or lost. She was just someone listening to music, in a room with a dangerous man who, for reasons she didn't understand, felt safe. When the song ended, she opened her eyes. Taeyang was watching her. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" "For this. For letting me be human for a minute." Something shifted in his expression, softened. "You should go back. Get some sleep." "What about you?" "I don't sleep much." "Nightmares?" "Memories. Worse than nightmares." He stood. "I'll walk you back." They moved through the corridors in silence. Comfortable silence, somehow. When they reached her door, Taeyang stopped. "Tomorrow I'm meeting with some contacts. People who might have information on Jiwon's location. If they know anything useful, I'll tell you." "Why?" "Because I made you a promise. I don't break promises. Even to prisoners? Especially to them." He held her gaze. Get some rest, Chioma. He turned to leave. Taeyang? He stopped, looked back. That song, the hopeful one, what was it called? His expression did something complicated. Sunrise. My mother wrote it. She said even the darkest night has to end eventually. Then he walked away, leaving Chioma standing in her doorway with something warm and confusing blooming in her chest. She went inside and closed the door. For the first time since the kidnapping, she slept. Chioma woke 3 days later to shouting. She jolted upright, heart hammering. Voices outside her door, sharp, urgent. Too many to count. She threw on clothes and yanked. The door open. The hallway was chaos. Guards running with weapons drawn. Jay on his phone, face pale, barking orders in rapid Korean. What's happening? Chioma grabbed his arm. He spun toward her. Get back inside, lock the door. Tell me what's happening. The Kwans. They found the compound. They're coming. Ice flooded her veins. Coming? They're attacking. Now. We have maybe 10 minutes before. An explosion rocked the building. Chioma stumbled, caught herself against the wall. The windows at the end of the hallway shattered, glass raining down like diamonds. Jay shoved his phone at a passing guard and grabbed Chioma's wrist. We need to move. Now. Where's Taeyang? Securing the perimeter, he said, to get you to the safe room. I'm not leaving without. Another explosion. Closer this time. The lights flickered and died. Emergency lighting kicked in, bathing everything in red. Gunfire erupted somewhere below them. Shouting, screaming. Jay dragged her down the hallway, away from the chaos. They took stairs she didn't recognize, descended into sections of the compound she'd never seen. The sounds of fighting faded above them but didn't disappear. They burst through a steel door into a reinforced room. Concrete walls, no windows. A bank of monitors showing security footage of the compound under siege. 5 other people were already there. Hana, 2 guards, an older man in an expensive suit who looked terrified, a woman Chioma didn't recognize. Jay sealed the door behind them, locks engaged with heavy thunks. We're secure, he said into a radio. Package is safe. Copy. Taeyang's voice crackled through, tight with tension. Stay there until I give the all-clear. Sir, they breached the East Wing. I know. We're handling it. Keep her safe, Jay. That's your only job. The radio cut to static. Chioma stared at the monitors. She watched men in black tactical gear pour through blown-out walls. Watched Taeyang's guards fight back. Muzzle flashes in the dark. Watched bodies fall. This is my fault, she whispered. No. Jay moved beside her. This is theirs. The Kwans have been looking for an excuse to move against us for months. You were just the trigger. People are dying because of me. People are dying because the Kwans are greedy bastards who want our territory. He squeezed her shoulder. This isn't on you, Chioma. But it felt like it was. Every gunshot, every explosion, every body on those screens, it felt like her fault. On one monitor, she saw Taeyang. He moved through the compound like violence made flesh, efficient, brutal, a gun in one hand, knife in the other. Men fell around him, and he didn't slow down. This was the monster everyone feared. This was what he'd protected her from seeing. And watching him, Chioma felt something unexpected. Fear, yes. Horror at the violence, but also something else. Something that made her chest tight and her breath catch. She watched him because she couldn't look away. Because even in the middle of a war zone, even covered in blood that wasn't his, she needed to see that he was okay. When did that happen? When did the man who kidnapped her become someone she cared about surviving? The fighting lasted 47 minutes. When the all-clear finally came through the radio, the silence felt louder than the explosions. Jay unlocked the safe room door. Stay close to me. Don't look at anything too long. They emerged into carnage, bodies in the hallways, blood on the walls. The smell of gunpowder and something worse, something metallic and final. Chioma swallowed bile and focused on Jay's back. They found Taeyang in his office. He stood by the windows, still holding a gun, his suit torn and stained. Blood on his face, a cut above his eye bleeding freely. He turned when they entered. His eyes locked on Chioma. Immediately. "You're all right." "I'm fine." "You're hurt." "It's nothing." He set down the gun. His hands were shaking slightly, the only sign of what he'd just been through. "Casualties?" Jay asked. "3 of ours dead, 7 injured. We took out 15 of theirs." Taeyang's voice was flat, emotionless. The rest retreated when they realized they couldn't breach the safe room. "So they know I'm here," Chioma said. "They know someone important is here. They don't know who. Not yet." He finally moved away from the window, walked to his desk. "But they'll find out. And when they do, they'll come back with more men." Chioma's blood ran cold. More attacks, more death. All because she looked like someone else. All because she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. "So what do we do?" Her voice came out steadier than she felt. Taeyang looked at her, really looked at her, and something in his expression shifted, hardened into resolve. "We end this." His voice was cold steel. "Tonight." The room went silent. Even Jay looked shocked. "Sir?" Jay said carefully. "Get me everything we have on the Kwan compound. Every entry point, every weak spot. Call our allies. I want everyone ready to move in 2 hours." Jay's eyes widened. "Sir, we just fought off an attack. The men need time to... The men will have time when this is finished." Taeyang's voice cut through the room like a blade. "They came to my home. They threatened what's mine. We end this tonight or we die waiting for them to come back." Chioma's heart hammered. "You're going to attack them? You're going to start a war?" "They started it." He finally looked at her, and his expression was something between fury and determination. This was always coming. The Kwans have been circling for months, waiting for weakness. Now they think they've found it. His jaw tightened. "They're wrong. And what about me?" Chioma's hands clenched into fists. "What happens to Tae? To me while you're out there risking your life? You stay here, protected. Jay and half our forces will secure the compound." "No." Everyone in the room turned to stare at her. Taeyang's expression was dangerous. "What did you say?" Chioma stepped forward, even though her legs were shaking, even though every instinct screamed at her to back down. "No. I'm not sitting in that concrete box again while people die because of me." She met his glare with one of her own. "You said the Kwans are involved in trafficking, that they might know where Ibuka is. Chioma, if you're raiding their compound..." She took a breath, made her choice. "I'm coming with you." The words hung in the air like smoke. Taeyang stared at her. His expression was unreadable. The cut above his eye still bled, a thin line of red tracking down his face. The silence stretched, and stretched. And then, Chioma just demanded to walk into a war zone with the man who kidnapped her. The man who's become something she can't name. The man she can't stop watching, can't stop caring about, even though it makes no sense. And besties, what he says next? What happens when they storm that compound? Whether she finds what she's been searching 6 years to find? That's episode 2, and trust me, you do not want to miss it. Drop a comment right now. Do you think Chioma is brave or crazy for wanting to go? Would you make the same choice? Hit that subscribe button because episode 2 drops soon. And if you're not subscribed, you'll miss the most intense, emotional, heart-stopping part of this story. Like this video if you're on the edge of your seat. Share it with someone who loves Afro-Korean romance. And besties, get ready, because episode 2 is going to break your heart and put it back together. See you there. Stay safe out there. Or don't. Because sometimes danger leads to exactly where you need to be.